Our children can't walk around the community without fear of being hurt or kidnapped or having a drive-by. So it's what these numbers that they're expressing, we don't feel it in our quality of life.
Chicago mayor is mad. I already told y'all this was going to happen. I told you he was going to be upset. He's already challenging Trump, already telling people to rise up against tyranny. I've never seen anything so insane in my entire life. I've never seen it. They would rather, because they don't want Trump to get a win. This is all about Trump not getting a win. They don't want Trump to come in and do what he did in D.C. because what that shows is that it could have been done. That if Democrats really focused, they could really stop the crime in their cities. But because it shows, the reason they don't want Trump in Chicago to come to Chicago and Baltimore and these places is because it shows their incompetence. It shows that it could be done. Just like Democrats said for the longest that we needed a bill to secure the border. That's what they were saying for all this time. They needed a bill. And it turned out we just needed a new president because immediately when Trump got in office, he shut the border down. The most secure it's ever been. But the Democrats under Joe Biden, when he let in over 20 million illegal immigrants, right? No celebrity, none of these liberals had a problem with that. The invasion of our country. But they want to criticize everything Trump does to try to get these same people out of the country, right? They want to act like it's immoral to remove these people that Biden let in, right? So it's just the Chicago is crime ridden. It's dangerous. Baltimore, all these states, and it helps black and brown people. It helps people who are the ones that they're saying that are the ones that they're trying to protect. It is disgusting.
And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people of this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And over the past couple of videos, we've been going ham, talking about spirit cities, talking about Nimrod and all the various different things that are laid out there in front of us. But I want to do some practicals with you. And we're going to go through the news real quick. And I just want you to comment what spiritual city, and there can be a state as well, do you think people are in? Now, how do we come up with this concept and idea? Or how do we, not necessarily concept or idea, these are real spiritual cities. How do we identify? We identify them by the fruits of the city. You know them by their fruits. So the overarching trends in a state or in a city are what identifies it as the labeled spiritual city. If you guys remember, I showed you the chart, but I just want you to listen to the news from that perspective. Because if you listen to the news from that perspective, then you know what's coming the way of those people. And you know if you need to run, you know if you need to sell, you need to buy, you need to do you know what you need to do. I am building and buying within the chaos because it's clear that these systems have to change, although they're building their new world order system and all the attention is on it. People tend to not realize that God has his system that he's erecting and things that he's doing. And he has his agenda. The unfortunate thing about the news media and YouTube and social media when it comes to like the war for humanity is the main focus has always been on what the enemy is doing. I mean, that's just, I guess it kind of has to be part of the focus. But nobody shows you how to tell what God is doing. We're not going to get into that part right now. We're going to keep on focusing on what the enemy is doing, and I'll touch on some of the things that God is doing. But you kind of have to have the discernment, and you got to talk to him a little bit to even hear when someone talks about that kind of stuff, like because you need confirmation. And I'm not going to be able to confirm it for you. He's going to have to confirm it for you. And if you actually hold conversations with him, then he'll just tell you, yeah, I did that. Yep, I did that. Yeah, he going to prison. This is about to happen. Anyway, California, Gavin Newsom.
I can't understand how anyone would vote for Gavin Newsom. He's like clearly a sociopath and has, I was thinking about this today, imagine rising to the position of governor of California, the 6th largest economy in the world, one of the most beautiful places in the world, and having your legacy be that you created a crime-ridden, bankrupt shithole. This place had a surplus 2 years ago. So that would disqualify, like Gavin Newsom would not be employable in the private sector with that kind of performance. But these people continue to vote for this stuff. And I've thought about leaving multiple times, but I love it here. I don't want to. So I hope that this disaster might change things and wake people up. In 2016, I was like an anti-Trump person and was very upset when he was elected. And then I've changed tune very quickly after seeing him being smeared unfairly, seeing media coverage that's taken out of context, edited. The same standard doesn't apply to any Democrat politician like Gavin Newsom, who had an affair with his best friend's wife, who was his campaign manager. I don't know what else somebody could do in terms of character, and all of Biden's stuff. It's like the worst president in the history of this country, and the most corrupt. It's like a criminal.
Oh, it just took that guy 8 years to wake up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry. It took him 10 years to wake up, or 9 years to wake up. That's okay. Took you 10 years to figure out what the hell is going on. But when you're looking at Gavin Newsom, you're looking at a pharaoh, man. A wicked pharaoh with a whole system that supports him. A whole infrastructure that surrounds him. And that man, it readily admits that he's a slave. I've been thinking about leaving, but, I love the place. But, the place is an S-hole, and I've been thinking about leaving, but, I just love being here. No, you're a slave to that territory. You're a spiritual slave, and your behind is a physical slave. Now, as he broke that agreement with him, cool, but he's not going to break the grip of him, because there's other things going on with him that you can hear in his voice. You know what I'm saying? There's other stuff happening there that you can hear. You heard it? I know you heard it. So he's going to stay there. Even though he woke up, he's going to stay right there in that bondage. And his hope is that Gavin Newsom will be outed and ousted. Problem is, unless this ballot harvesting, mail-in ballot crap is stopped, really stopped, then no, you're gonna be stuck with those people for the rest of your life. You're gonna be stuck in that city. The black version of him, Brandon Johnson, is in the news, and I wonder what, if you were to think about it, what kind of city in the Bible was full of bloodshed? I mean, just blood all over the place. It was full of weird, freaky stuff where parents didn't look out for their children, and there it is. There it is. This is a city where all the blood sacrifices in America pretty much happen. I mean, we're talking about murder after murder after murder after murder after murder after murder after murder. And it's all young men. They're not even old men. They're all basically children of single parent households killing each other, filling the streets with blood. And you wonder why someone like Brandon Johnson would fight and stop Donald Trump from bringing in help to solve the problem. Well, it's because, let's listen. You tell me what you think. I'm not going to tell you what I think. You tell me what spirit city you think Chicago actually is. I want to hear your opinion. I'll tell you mine in the comments. You tell me.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, Would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying that we don't.
That's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer. What I'm saying is policing and affordable housing. It's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's policing and youth employment. It's a full package. Of course, we want to make sure that our police department is fully supported. That's why I've invested in our Detectives Bureau, because what we have seen in the city of Chicago, when we solve crime, it acts and serves as a deterrent. It's policing and all of the other efforts that we're doing. Here's the last thing that I'll say to that. The federal government could work stronger to coordinate with my police department to get guns off the streets of Chicago. We've seen these coordination efforts work. Just a couple of weeks ago, the ATF working with my police department, we removed over 150 guns off the streets of Chicago that were trafficked in through Mississippi and Indiana. No one is saying that police officers don't play an incredible role in driving safety. They play an absolute pivotal role in that. But we have asked law enforcement to do too much. Police officers are being asked to be social workers, counselors. What I'm simply saying is, if we're going to build safe and affordable cities across America, the one thing that safe communities all have in common, they invest in people. We have a poverty issue in the city of Chicago and cities across America. Police officers alone will not put food on the table. Police officers alone will not guarantee a high quality education. Police officers alone won't drive down unemployment. We need all of it. The President of the United States of America and the federal government could restore Medicaid. They could restore SNAP. They could stop defunding our public education system. Here's the most important point here. Justice Brandeis, over 100 years ago, the first Jewish American.
Oh, my Lord. I'm sorry. I had to let y'all listen to that floundering word salad from this needle-headed prick because I wanted to make a point. The reason why you cannot expect anything of wicked people like a Brandon Johnson or like a Gavin Newsom, the reason why when you in the vicinity of wicked people and wickedness, and if you know you're a resident of one of those spiritual cities, the reason why you have to flee is because the only thing that changes the mindset of a man like that is God's judgment. Period. I mean, it's going to take one hell of a judgment from the Lord to change that retard's mind. And so you find yourself around people like this, You have to remove yourself from them, because that's the only thing that changes it. I'm sorry. God gonna have to punish this man, because the simple question of, hey, will 5,000 officers help with crime in the streets? The obvious answer is yes. I put 5,000 more officers on the streets, but no, that's not what Brandon Johnson wants. Brandon Johnson wants the federal purse string to be open so he can direct the money to where he wants to direct it to, embezzle the money and do what he wants to do. And the reason why there's this massive pushback against the federal government coming in to take over their police department is the minute they come in and they're taking over and crime goes down, again, the citizens in that city have an opportunity to experience freedom. This is the amazing thing to me about the whole Donald Trump's a racist, he's this, is those are slaves in spiritual cities being told by citizens and leadership in spiritual cities that the one that's going to emancipate them is racist. DC just literally had curses broken off the city that were placed to create law and order, when they created law and order in the city. Literally, the curses. I talked to people in DC. Hey man, how does it feel? Bro, it feels lighter. It feels less spiritually oppressive here. Of course it does. And that's what the real battle is. And then you have people talking about it all over the place, giving their opinion on what needs to happen in Chicago. And I want you to think back to 2016. There were no people really doing this. Nobody. They was too afraid. Remember? They were too afraid. People were afraid to say they was a Donald Trump supporter. I remember telling people I was a Donald Trump supporter in 2016, and people wanted to fight me. And I'd be like, hey man, we could fight. This is not going to end well for you. Because I'm too old to be rolling around on the ground with you, dog. No. I'm too old to roll around, dog. Yeah. Y'all young. Y'all some youngsters. Y'all out here, you full of vigor and energy. No. I'm stabbing or shooting you, boy. One of the two. I'm stabbing or shooting. Now let's do what we're going to do. Because I'm not going to sit. You going to sit. Anyway, let me quit going crazy. I'm not going to sit. You going to sit. Yeah, I'm not sitting. Not my city. I ain't sitting. I promise you that. I ain't sitting. You going to sit. But it was slavery back then. Bondage back then. And it took 10 years. Almost 10 years. Almost 9.5 years for people to break out of bondage. And in fact, I'm going to share a spiritual secret with you. Typically, a season of bondage in a person's life is 10 years. So, for example, if you have, when people go into bad marriages, that bondage normally is 10 years. And in that 10-year period, on the other end of that 10-year period, either that person divorces and things get better, or they stay together and things get better. But typically, if you look at your life, the cycles of bondage that you go into, where things just go horrifically wrong, the longer cycle is normally 10 years. The shorter cycle is normally 3.5 years. There's a spiritual reason for it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm learning now. There are certain things I should say online and certain things I shouldn't say online. And may the Lord reveal it to you. But that bondage, that 10-year bondage, that once people are aware, once the Lord raises up a standard and makes everybody aware, hey, this is wrong. The clock starts ticking then. Hey, this is wrong. Stop. This is wrong. You got a better option. And that's the time period that you're given to come out of bondage. Then you go from out of that bondage into a little bit of a wilderness. Then you have some graces released. And then get to the point where people decide whether they're going to keep going forward or they're going to go back. They're going to say, oh man, you took us out here away from what we were familiar with, and things are, where we was at back in Chicago when we had, back in Chicago when we didn't have all these police, man, it was wild out there in them streets. They were shooting each other, but bro, I wasn't getting pulled over and getting harassed about, about my tags on my car. Yeah, and then you got to make that decision. The people got to make a decision. Do they want that real freedom and that responsibility, or do they want to go back into the wilderness? To go back into slavery. Man, bro.
Chicago mayor is mad. I already told y'all this was going to happen. I told you he was going to be upset. He's already challenging Trump, already telling people to rise up against tyranny. I've never seen anything so insane in my entire life. I've never seen it. They would rather, because they don't want Trump to get a win. This is all about Trump not getting a win. They don't want Trump to come in and do what he did in D.C. because what that shows is that it could have been done. That if Democrats really focused, they could really stop the crime in their cities. But because it shows, the reason they don't want Trump in Chicago to come to Chicago and in Baltimore and these places is because it shows their incompetence. It shows that it could be done. Just like Democrats said for the longest that we needed a bill to secure the border. That's what they was saying for all this time. But they needed a bill. And it turned out we just needed a new president because immediately when Trump got in office, he shut the border down. The most secure it's ever been. But the Democrats under Joe Biden, when he let in over 20 million illegal immigrants, right? No celebrity, none of these liberals had a problem with that. The invasion of our country. But they want to criticize everything Trump does to try to get these same people out of the country. Right? They want to act like it's immoral to remove these people that Biden let in. Right? So it's just the Chicago is crime ridden. It's dangerous. Baltimore, all these states. And it helps black and brown people. It helps people who are the ones that they're saying that are the ones that they're trying to protect. It is disgusting.
And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
Now, I don't know if you guys understand what he's saying right there. Because you see that calm demeanor where it's like, let me take his stupid position again, the stupid Brandon Johnson position. Let me button up my shirt a little bit so my shoulders look wider. Hold on. I'm going to translate what Brandon Johnson says. And I'm going to be clear with you. I'm going to use some foul language. So cover your ears if you're not used to hearing foul language. Don't be mad at me. Let me get my microphone positioned correctly. The people of Chicago are used to rising up against tyranny. And I want to be clear with you. We're going to handle this with lawsuits. And if the lawsuits don't work, I'm going to go out into the streets and I'm going to have a conversation with every one of my fucking drug dealers that I've been taking kickbacks from. And I'm going to tell them they're going to put bullets in the heads of every last one of these people that come in here and try to take over our city. Y'all got us messed up. This Chicago, I run this. I'm the head nigga in charge. Thank you for your time. I want you guys to understand that we shall overcome. We shall overcome. Nigga, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart. Keep that money, nigga. I do believe that we shall steal this money all day. And that's literally what these politicians are. That's literally what these black politicians is. Sitting there all calm and collective. You get behind the scenes with them, they just stark, raving, mad lunatics. You want to do business with me, James? You want to do business with this administration? It's going to cost you $10,000. You want to do business with me? You want to build? I'm going to need you to sharpen your pencil. Sharpen your pencil, James. They're going to have to be a carve out for me. Yeah. Call him over there and he'll work with you. I don't take the money in my hands. No, I don't take it directly. How dare you? Are you trying to set me up? Are you a Fed? Nigga, are you a Fed? There you go. Y'all don't understand. Boy, y'all don't get it. Then they go on TV 5 minutes later. Y'all do not understand. Then they go on TV 5 minutes later. You know what I want to say about the city of New Orleans is this. The city of New Orleans is moving forward. This is a great time for our city. Things are going well. Yeah, of course, murder is out of control. Crime is skyrocketing. But we have to understand there's problems in the community and we need to address the community. You understand it takes a village to raise a child. And the problem is our village is broken. And I'm working with the federal government to get 14.4 billion naira to take care of this problem. Yeah, we're not taking American dollars anymore. We're only taking naira, Nigerian dollars. Yes. Let me stop clowning, man. All right, guys, I'll see y'all on the next video.